Hey, good afternoon, good evening, good morning, SPC 209, interpersonal communications, whatever time you're consuming this little artifact of educational media. I am Vic McInnes, your instructor, coming to you live on tape from my COVID-19 compound in the greater Grovetown, Georgia metro area, the Aiken Tech Outpost in lovely Columbia County, Georgia. Hey, today, again, my name is Vic McInnes. This is the Welcome to SPC 209 talk. Let me bring up my slides. Right there they are. Again, welcome to SPC 209 Interpersonal Communications. This is going to go pretty quickly. You got a full lecture coming this week. You got a couple of things I'll be posting on Blackboard this week. It's all going to be great. We're all going to have a good time. Okay? So let's just jump right into it. Tell you a little bit about who I am. As soon as it clicks, here we go. It's going to work. Okay, listen real quick about the setup here. This up here, this is me up here. Where's it there? Okay. Think about this as like screen on screen Saturday afternoon back where we used to have college football. This would be like the Florida-South Carolina game. Kind of interesting. You kind of want to know what it is, but really it's not your major focus. Okay, today this is your major focus right here in the middle. That's the Auburn-Georgia game. Man, it's a good game. It's a great rivalry. None of the fans have been convicted of football-related felonies like the University of Alabama fan base. So focus over here on the slides. I just don't like ever watching a disembodied voice over slides, so I like to keep myself up there in the corner. Okay, where were we? We're back to this. Okay. Tell you a little bit about your instructor. I was born and raised in a small town in Alabama, a place called Homewood. It's just south of Birmingham. Homewood used to be a separate little town of about 36,000 from Birmingham. Birmingham suburban sprawl has just burst over Red Mountain out of Jones Valley and just sort of surrounded Homewood. But I was born and raised, I lived in the same house from the time I was 4. That was my dog. Apparently somebody's in the front yard. Till the time I went to Auburn University. I went to Auburn University for my undergraduate work. And apparently you're going to hear my dog for maybe a few minutes. I majored in communications. I minored in political science and history. I had a phenomenal 2.68 grade point average, which you could actually get a degree with back then. And with a 2.68 grade point average in the liberal arts, without a whole lot of money, I enlisted in the United States Army. I was in Army intelligence for a total of 6 years. I went back to Auburn University with my GI Bill to go to graduate school. Why did I go back to Auburn? Because with a 2.68 grade point average, they were the graduate school that would actually take me. Now, let me say this. I did finish my graduate degree with a 3.88 out of a 4. So I went back to Auburn University. I got my master's degree in speech communications and international relations. I double majored. And then went to work for the National Security Agency. And you can look those guys up online. Not a lot I can tell you about it. Worked there for quite a while. Then I went to work in 2010. I went to work at United States Central Command. So, U.S. Central Command, we ran most of the U.S. military operations in the Middle East. I was there for 5.5 years. I was a supervisory intelligence officer, which meant I had a whole bunch of great young people working for me. But my wife's job relocated. She was also a DoD employee. Her job relocated to Fort Gordon, so I retired from the Federal Civil Service, and I went to work as a contractor over at the U.S. Army Cyber Center. Worked there for about 2 years, really didn't like the whole contracting business, came to work at Aiken Technical College teaching public speaking. In that time, I had a lot of great opportunities. I was stationed in hard duty in Monterey, California at the Defense Language Institute learning Arabic for a while. I spent 10 years up in Maryland. Where I met my wife and we got married. Well, I said she was my wife. Of course we got married. We lived in Texas for 3 years. To be honest with you, didn't like it very much. We moved to Florida down in Tampa. We were there for 9 years. Immediately back in the late 90s, early 2000s, we spent 5 years stationed in North Yorkshire, England. Great tour. I also got the opportunity to deploy to Iraq once. I deployed to Afghanistan twice. I also got to go to, those last two flags represent Bahrain, the UAE, Qatar, Kuwait. I got to visit a lot of the countries there in the Gulf as part of my job. Great opportunities. But really, to be honest with you, you probably don't care all that much about that. This is where I've taught before coming to Aiken Technical College. I taught at Auburn University. I taught at University of Maryland. I taught for the National Security Agency. I taught for the Defense Intelligence Agency. I taught classes at the U.S. Central Command. I taught at the John F. Kennedy Special Warfare Center. I taught at the U.S. Army Cyber Center in school. In all of those, I taught communications courses. On-the-job training courses, instructional techniques, briefing skills, which is what we call public speaking, group dynamics, group organizations, which is what we're going to be working on here in interpersonal communications. So I took my first job teaching in 1986. And the great thing about doing this online is I don't have to hear one of you guys going like, I wasn't even born then. Okay? I know you weren't born then. That's fine. Okay? But the point I'm trying to make is I've been teaching communication techniques in theory for 34 years. Okay? When I tell you something, it's because I know it and I've practiced it and I've seen it work and I've seen the studies that verify it. Okay? All right, here's my contact information. Get that email and remember it. It says preferred. There's my office number. I will tell you now, until we come off the current status, I am not going to be in my office. Even if tomorrow Dr. Mahan says, hey, listen, we'd like everybody to come back into their office. If you look at the COVID-19 comorbidity list, I check them all. Okay? I'm not going to be wanting to sit in a small room with people until I get a vaccine sometime in 2021. That's just the way it is. But that being said, I will be on my email all the time, ready to respond to you. Okay? I check. You can email me at any time. I will look at it. I will promise you that if you email me during the normal working hours, you will get a response from me that day. Okay, if you email me Friday afternoon after, it's probably going to be Monday morning. Okay, when we come up a little bit later, we're going to talk about attendance. We're going to talk about when your stuff is due and how to get an excused absence. If you've got something, all your assignments are going to be due Friday at 8 a.m. If you've got an assignment due Friday at 8 a.m. and something happens when you were going to sit down and do your homework Thursday night, okay, send me an email. The important thing about sending that email is not going to be the time that I read it. It's going to be the time that you send it, okay? If I read it at 10 o'clock on Friday after this due date for your work, but I go into my email and find out that you send me something the night before asking for an excused absence, you've met the criteria. If you got a good excuse, you're going to get the excused absence, okay? I will meet students via Zoom. Last semester was the first time we really gone full-blown where I had all my classes online. I tried to do Zoom office hours where I would open up and have people come in and say hello and sit and chat, except for only one guy the entire time came in and sat and chatted. Okay, so I'm not doing that anymore. That was a huge waste of everybody's time. So what I'm going to do, if you want to talk to me about class, give me 24 hours notice. Just send me an email. Tell me some times you're available, and I will set up a Zoom chat with you. Okay, and we can iron. Usually, what happens is that, and also occasionally after a long time, I might even suggest that after we've been exchanging a bunch of emails, just like, hey, let's just get in a chat room and we'll sort of hammer this out. Okay. Now, everybody knows the Aiken Tech mission statement. If you don't, you should read it. Aiken Tech is a public, open-door, 2-year comprehensive institution for higher education established to provide citizens of the greater Aiken County opportunities for educational and workforce development. I care about, I do care about your education, but I care about workforce development. My goal in this class is to give you the skill set you need to, let me put it bluntly, earn more money, okay? Course description, this course is an introduction to principles of, that's from the other class, the principles of interpersonal communication. And again, that does look like I changed the goal without changing the course description. To make you confident and effective communicators in order to enhance your personal and professional lives and to improve your skills as a critical consumer of communication. Okay, here's a fact. Back in the 1990s, all we heard about was about the skill gap. The Japanese, the Germans, everybody was, the Chinese were jumping on this skill set, and they were learning computers quicker than our people were. There was just this national hand-wringing. Well, we've closed that gap, and in 2020, industry leaders from Fortune 500 companies are all saying the exact same thing. We have people that are good at technical stuff. They can't speak. They don't know how to work in a small group. They don't understand organizational dynamics. This course is going to help you with that. Here's your textbook. I am a wonderful human being. When I first came to this class, you had a $40 textbook you had to buy. This is online, okay? You do not have to buy a textbook, but you will need to read that bad boy. Okay, so don't think because it doesn't cost you anything, you don't really need to care about it. That is an important book for you. So please get online and get out there and read it. Okay, you'll also find everything I'm saying today. Before I post this and put it out in a Blackboard announcement, you will also see everything I'm saying in the document section in the syllabus and the syllabus addenda. Okay? Class rules. Attendance will be obtained through participation in weekly discussion boards. You will have a discussion board due every Friday at 8 a.m. If you submit after 8 a.m., you will not be counted present for that week. It will be marked absence. I don't care if it's at 8:03. Last semester was the first time. I've usually been real flexible because SPC 209 was my only online class. Last semester, I had 4 sections that were 60 to 70% full. And it just got to a point where if somebody was late and I'm trying to track them down and double back, it just ate up my life. Okay? This time I'm doing 5 sections and they're all full. I've got about 115 to 118 students this year, or this semester. If your input is not in by 8 a.m. on Fridays, I'm moving on. You're just going to be marked absent for the week, and you're going to lose all the points associated with that. Okay? Failure to post, that should say in 4 discussion boards. I have gone back and I've changed that. Failure to post in 4 discussion boards will result in the student being withdrawn from the class. Okay? And excused absence. Now, if you've got, I'm not a heartless jerk no matter what this little talk sounds like. I am not a heartless jerk. If you've got a problem and you need to, you got a good reason that you're not going to be able to post on time, you're still going to have to do it. Okay? But if you can't get your post in by Friday at 8 a.m., you need to let me know before Friday at 8 a.m. And I know you can all do that because we all have these. Okay? Every one of you probably has one of these. I had a student a while back was due to give a speech in class on a Thursday morning. Wednesday, when she was going to practice her speech, her kid got sick at 9 p.m. At 12:05 Thursday morning, she sent me an email. Mr. McInnes, kid in hospital, can't do speech tomorrow. I went back and I said, fine. Shoot me some sort of documentation. Take a picture of his discharge forms. To give me something. Take a picture of you sitting in an emergency room, and you'll be good to go. She took a picture of his bracelet from his arm. Good to go. She got to give the speech. She got an excused absence. Okay, I've had people come in all the time that said, hey, listen, I can't get my discussion board done because, my father's, and now, unfortunately, too many times I've had people come in and say, hey, listen, I have a relative that's got COVID-19, and we don't know what's going to happen. I can't focus. And I go, you got it. I need to see some sort of documentation. Well, we're going to Greenville. And I said, take a picture of something in Greenville. Show me that you're in Greenville, and it's all good to go. I had a student several semesters ago that had to go to Spokane for a funeral. I said, give me something, and they took a picture of themselves outside of the Spokane airport. That was fantastic. I had a student 2 semesters ago that said, hey, listen, I can't do the assignment. My mom's in the ICU. And I said, fine. Give me some sort of documentation. She took a picture of her mom in the ICU. I deleted it. It freaked me out. I don't ever want to see anything like that again. Just send me some sort of documentation. Okay. 2 things you need to remember. Number 1, it must be coordinated in advance. You come in at 8:05 and tell me, oh, yeah, by the way, I didn't get it in. I'll get it in this afternoon because I had to work last night. It was unexpected and unscheduled. No, that's not in advance. It's got to be in advance. Second of all, it's got to be related to a specific event, and this is something I've added today. because last semester I had a student, it was the only person that showed up in one of those Zoom office meetings, said, hey, listen, I'm not going to be able to turn my work in on time. And I'm going like, what, for this week? And he goes, no, ever. For the whole semester, it'll be late. And I'm like going, okay, what's up with that? Do you need to withdraw from the course? He goes, oh, no. And this was in the SPC 205 class. Our discussion boards are due in Thursday at 8 a.m. And I'm like going, yeah. I work Wednesday nights. And I'm like going, well, how long do you work Wednesday nights for? Oh, I'm going to be working Wednesday nights for a while. And I was going like, okay, what about Tuesday nights? I don't work on Tuesday nights. What about Monday nights? I work on Monday nights. Well, what about Sunday nights? I don't work on Sunday nights. I said, well, why don't you do it on Sunday or Tuesday night? Everything you need to do is there. Okay, you can do it. And he was going like, but it's not due till Thursday, and I work Wednesday night. We did not have a happy ending to that conversation to his satisfaction. Okay, he got all the stuff in. Once I told him that his time management problems were not an excuse absent, he actually got the stuff in and actually did pretty well in the course. Okay, so it has to be related to a specific event. I'm not going to give a blanket umbrella. You don't have to turn your work in on time. Okay. Formal communications for this class will be through Blackboard announcements. Now, when I hit the submit button on Blackboard announcement, it sends out an email. Now, if your email should sync up and it should pop up in your email, and if that happens, that's good to go. I had something happen a couple of last year when two students had all my announcements go into a junk folder and expected me to give them a break and tell them none of their assignments so they could go back and redo all their assignments. You need to be looking at Blackboard. If you're not getting the emails on a regular basis, and even if you are, you need to go back into Blackboard and open it up and look at the announcements and make sure you're seeing everything. Okay? I am not accountable for you seeing the Blackboard announcements that I post. Okay, and I had a problem with that back in the spring. I had a student come in and claim after the fact when we went online that I never communicated, and I, put out. She showed my syllabus to my department chair that says, "Hey, look, here's the where it says my syllabus. The formal communication is handled through Blackboard announcements, and it's your responsibility. Here's the 21 Blackboard announcements I sent out that he ignored, including the time of the final." Okay, So you need to get familiar with Blackboard. If you're not familiar with Blackboard, there's a tons of tutorials out there. Our final exam will be on Blackboard, so you need to be prepared for all of that. And you will be posting weekly on Blackboard. Again, I've already talked to you about this. Failure to post for a graded event, a discussion board by the posted deadline will result in absence. Again, we've already covered all of this. I just put it in there a second time just to make sure I really, it is horrible to have to withdraw somebody who's turning in assignments a couple of minutes late. But the problem was last semester I had somebody that I gave him a pass for submitting something that was 35 minutes late, and then they submitted something 6 days late, and then when I told them they weren't getting credit for that and they were being counted as absent, they sent a letter to my department chair. Okay, and I just don't want to have to deal with that anymore. So the absolute standard is Friday morning at 8 a.m. you will have a discussion board due. Okay. Inclusivity, please. I put this in, and I also put it in the syllabus addenda and the syllabus about the ATC infringement on the rights of others policy. If you post on the discussion boards something that is inflammatory, profane, obscene, and again, discriminatory in any way, shape, or form on these issues, you'll get a 0 for that, and you may well get removed from the class, depending on how bad it is. I have a 0 tolerance for that. The purpose of this class is to give everyone in the greater Aiken County area an opportunity to improve themselves. And if you think you're going to come into my class and tell people and communicate to them that they do not have a right to be here, you are going to be sorely disappointed. Okay? And right now, in these times, I know a lot of people are inflamed about a lot of these issues. My recommendation is to steer clear of it because I do not fool around. Okay? Okay, grade's very simple. 70% of your grade is going to be discussion boards. If you max out your discussion boards, 25 points each time. Okay? Let me scroll through some things here. All right, let's go back. I need to explain something. A slide got cut. Okay, so let me explain the discussion boards. And I will post this on an announcement so you have it anyway. You know, ATC, where the P is for professional. So your discussion boards are going to, every week, you're going to have a chapter. We move through the book, chapter 1 to chapter 16. There's a chunk toward the end that I just toss out on the public speaking. There's 3 chapters on public speaking that you just don't need to worry about. If you want to learn how to public speak, take SPC 205. Great instructor right here, okay? You're going to have 4 things to do, 4 things to do on each discussion board. Number 1, you're going to have to post your response to my question. That will need to be 2 to 3 full paragraphs. Now, what is a full paragraph? I made the mistake one time of saying a full paragraph was 5 sentences. Okay? I regretted it immediately because that week, one of my students posted something that said, I agree. You did well. Thanks for posting this. It means a lot. Good on you. And he got upset when I didn't give him any credit for it. Okay? So, stay focused. 2 to 3 paragraphs means 2 to 3. You guys have taken English 101 or the equivalent. You should be able to write a full paragraph. So, you're going to write your 2 to 3 paragraphs, and then you're going to go in and respond to 3, count them 3, of your fellow classmates with a full paragraph responding to what they wrote. There's going to be a discussion board coming up this week that is not going to be on chapter 1. I'll explain it. You're going to see exactly what you need to do, but you spend a full paragraph responding to 3 separate other students. Those are worth 5 points each. You can get partial credit for your initial post. I oftentimes give 5 points, but if you don't measure up to that 1 full paragraph for your follow-on comments, you get a 0 out of 5. So they're worth a total of 25 points, 350 points total, okay? Your final exam is worth 150 points. So let's say you want to do the bare minimum. Hammer those discussion boards. Write 3 full paragraphs, okay? Get 1 point on the final. I mean, you can just do that marking C all the way down. You're going to get a C at a minimum, okay? The weight of the grades are on the discussion boards. Okay, please remember, I'll make all reasonable accommodations. If you have a statement of accommodation from Rich Weldon, the Aiken Tech counselor for students with disabilities, you need to send that to me and let me know, okay? I will do everything I can to meet your accommodations for your disability, okay? Students who miss 4 discussion boards will be withdrawn from the class. I'm not kidding about that. Please, when I send you the email saying, if I send you an email saying, hey, you've been withdrawn from the class, you know, because usually what I'll do is when you miss 3, I'll send you an email saying, hey, you're in danger of being withdrawn from the class. If you don't respond, you know, if you miss another one, that's it. I don't have any leeway. That's part of our accreditation process is examination of our attendance policies. So, and again, if you're going to have problems in class, let me know as soon as possible. Here's the story I always tell about this. I had a student in SPC 205 a couple of years ago just vanished from class. She hit the 3 absences, and I sent her an email saying, hey, listen, you've missed 3 classes. The next one, you get withdrawn from the class. And she said, can I come in and talk to you? And I said, absolutely. Here's my office hours. She came in and sat down, and I said, so what's going on? And she says, I haven't been in class because my children have been kidnapped. And I was like, what? It was a custody issue. Her husband, who had been denied custody, lived in Florida, came to Aiken County, grabbed her kids, went back to Florida. She was in the process of getting that sorted out with the involvement of several law enforcement agencies. And she just didn't bother to tell me. And I'm like, you know, there's a ton of different things I can do to help you out. But at this point, really, you've left me without a whole lot of maneuver room. She said, yeah, I just came in to have you sign the withdrawal slip. She really didn't need to be in class, but again, there wasn't a whole lot I could do at that point, but she had removed the opportunity. I had another student who changed his work hours, and I could have worked to have him attend other lectures. There were other things that I could have done for him, but because he never told me, I could never help him. He never gave me the opportunity to help, okay? So if you're going to have problems, let me know, communicate with me, talk to me. We can set up Zoom meetings. I can talk to you via email. We can work our best As long as you're putting in the effort and putting in the hours and the energy, we'll get you through this class, okay? All right, now, by the time you see this, there will be a discussion board form created that says put in a short biographical sketch. By short, I mean 2 to 3 full paragraphs. And then you're going to respond to 3 of your fellow students on their paragraphs. You have until Friday morning at 8 o'clock. This doesn't take any research. This doesn't take any reading. It's going to be kind of short, but you're not going to get a lecture this week until Friday. This is what I want you to focus on, okay? And I'll have, if you look in the discussion board forums, it will all be there, lined out exactly what you need to do, okay? All right, last thing. Let me get this up so you can see me, okay? So, for a large part of my life, I was in the Department of Defense. I had a very specific definition of what I perceived to be essential workers. I now know that that definition was flawed. Military, first responders, our medical personnel were all essential personnel, and they still are, and I still have great respect for all of them. But since mid-March, I've also come to understand that essential personnel are the people working at your local grocery store, the people working at your local restaurants, our transportation people, the mechanics that are keeping our car running, people that have to go to work to keep our economy moving forward. And many of those people, even back before March, I said $7.25 is not minimum wage. That's barely a wage. Now I say these are the people that that put their safety at risk in order to keep our lives moving forward. I am fully aware that almost all of you now are back at work. And if you're not at work, if you work from the home and you don't have formal employment, you are working 24/7 because your partner, your spouse, somebody you care about is out there slaying the dragon every day, getting it done, and you're there supporting them. And I understand that, and this ain't going to get better between now and the end of this semester. This ain't going to get better until spring at the earliest. And again, I need to be able. I want to be able to help you, but you have to talk to me about it. Just suffering silently and failing a class is failing a class. You come to me, you talk to me, we can work things out. Okay. Life sucks right now. I understand that. We've got politics, we've got protests, we've got a pandemic. Oh, that's the 3 Ps of the apocalypse. But I have yet to have a student that really came to me that gave me a problem that I did not think I could take care of. And if they talked to me and earnestly wanted to put the work in for the class, they were successful. Okay? All right. Good to go. That's it for this time. Yeah, check the discussion board forums. You have till Friday at 8 o'clock to post a 3-paragraph, 2 to 3 full paragraph biographical sketch of yourself and to comment on 3 of your fellow students. The lecture for, let me tell you about the lectures real quick. I want to get out of this, but I'm going to tell you this. You're going to see that my lectures are a year old. They were done in the fall of 2019, and I'm not happy with them. I was going to go back and redo them all during the summer. That didn't work. So we weren't allowed on campus during the summer, so I haven't been able to go back and redo most of the lectures. And with everything else that's going on, I just have not had the time. So the lectures will be posted. A couple of them, I do some little add-ons because there's some things in there that I'm not really thrilled with, but we're going to get that taken care of. You won't see it. It'll be next semester when I probably will redo all those. But yeah, the lectures are there. The information is still good. It's just that some of them could have been better. I'll tell you, I got some pants on in one of them that are so baggy, I don't even want to think about it. So anyway, stay safe, stay well. You will hear from me this week. Welcome to SPC 209, Interpersonal Communications, and we will see you soon.